In this video, I'm going to show you how to use temps and apply them to a traditional slow blues in order to turn it into more of a New Orleans style blues in the style of Dr. Jon or perhaps even James Booker. Now, a traditional 12-bar slow blues might end up something like this. How you might add temps to add fullness and also to use certain very interesting intervals, creating a certain kind of discord. The root note doesn't necessarily have to be on the rooted chord, the lowest note. Dr. Jon might do something like this. This is mainly focusing, well, it's a lesson on temps, so of course it is, on the left hand. Now, there I was passing on to a small part of 4 chord in the first sort of phrase. You can do this little chromatic walk-up, so you can move from that chord, but I prefer to move from there. And there, rather than moving back to the 1 there, you can revoice it up there. So you're using the 7th on your thumb, the 3rd down there. And that's very nice because it means you get this high up tritone as well as achieving a lot of tension by the fact that your pinky, the lowest note, isn't on the tonic, but on the 5 note. Then again you can move back down to get back to the 4 chord. There I'm moving chromatically back up there. And this is a very, very New Orleans progression move. Because if you see there, again it's based on the 5, the 3rd, and the 7, just like that, only shifted down there. The advantage of that is it's very close to there. You can also move it down there, which is a very sweet sound there, very mournful. Also adding that in that little chromatic motion onto the 3rd note. Then moving up to the 4 chord. From that point onwards, you can then experiment with a whole load of different turnarounds. Like one that is, again, very Dr. Jon, I've only really ever heard him do it, is something like... Then you can add in that little chromatone. It's always safe to add in chromatic notes if you phrase it correctly. With temps, as well as doing turnarounds, there's another turnaround. There's another voicing for the 5 chord. I already showed you that one, but you can voice out there. again doing the chromatic motion up onto the 7 this time. As well as doing that kind of thing, you can also voice certain passing chords. Like, for example, so there you're playing 1. My bad. Or even moving on to those motions are particularly elegant in 8-bar blues. So an 8-bar blues using this style could go something like this. Conventional one, not using the chord substitutions, such as the 3-chord, 2-chord, it could be more something like this. Like the turnaround, for that matter. So there's an 8-bar in the more conventional sense. Or when you're moving up to that 4, rather than going like that, you could play that, which is a bit less unconventional, a bit more unconventional. I wouldn't use that in the context of a band, because that might clash with the other band members. But and again, a lot of these patterns, like 1 to 5 or 1 to 5, are very modular. You can use them in turnarounds, you can use them in the actual structure of the song. Essentially, your creativity is the limit. Wherever you want to move from one place to the next, there's usually a chromatic system or a chromatic way of moving from one chord to the next, depending upon how it's voiced, no matter what those 2 chords are. So whether it's circular or whether it's just straight up chromatic, whether it's sort of using the 1-4-5 system of more conventional blues, it can be done with temps, and it gives a very soulful, very slow, and a full sound. Amazing to sing to. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a good evening.